English for medical students, anatomy, body basics, and bones. Watch the video till the end because I'm going to give you some bonus tips at the end of the video. Let's go. Naming bones of the skeleton. Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about 41 bones. Skull. Look at the picture and name the bones in the skull. Note that even though there are 28 bones in the skull, only 6 are discussed here. Name items 1, 2, 3, and 4. Cranial bones. Name items 31 and 32. Pause the video here, look in the description box, and answer the question in A. The facial bones are the paired zygomatic, lacrimal, nasal, maxilla, palatine, concha, and the unpaired vomer and mandible. Most facial bones are joined together by the suture, so a type of joint between bones that does not allow for movement, which is found in the skull, so they are movable, except for the mandible. Cranium and facial bones. Cranium, the upper portion of the skull. Zygomatic bone in 2. Its main function is to provide structure and strength to the mid-face. In 3 we find the mandible, so the lower jaw or jawbone, which is the largest, strongest, and lowest bone in the human facial skeleton. In 4 we find maxilla. Maxilla is the bone that forms your upper jaw. Turning to cranial bones. In 31, we see the parietal bone, which consists of 2 bones that form the sides and the roof of the cranium. In 32, we see the occipital bone, found at the lower back area of the cranium. Thorax. The thorax is the chest region of the body between the neck and the abdomen, along with its internal organs and other contents. Let's continue by naming the bones in the thorax. Name items 5, 6, 7, 16, and 17. Pause the video here, look in the description box, and answer the questions in B. In 5, we find the xiphoid process, which is the section at the lower end of the sternum. In 16, we find the sternum, which is the breastbone, which is a long and flat bone located in the central part of the chest. In 17, we find the ribs, which are a set of 12 paired bones which form the protective cage of the thorax. In 6, we find costal cartilage, which serve to prolong the ribs. In 7, we see the vertebral column. So the spinal column provides attachments to the muscles, supports the torso, and protects the spinal cord and nerve roots. Upper extremity. The upper extremity consists of 3 sections: the upper arm, forearm, and hand. Let's name the bones in the upper extremity. Name items 18, 19, 20, and 21. Name items 22, 23, and 24. Pause the video here, look in the description box, and answer the question in C. 18. Humerus. The long bone in the upper half of your arm between your shoulder and your elbow. In 19, we find ulna, a long, thin bone in the lower part of your arm. In 20, we find radius, the thicker of the 2 bones in the lower arm. In carpal, we find the wrist bones. In 22, we find phalanges, which are the bones that make up the fingers of the hand and the toes of the foot. In 23, we find metacarpals. In human anatomy, the metacarpal bones form the intermediate part of the skeletal hand located between the phalanges of the fingers and the carpal bones of the wrist, which form the connection to the forearm. Olecranon in 24 means elbow. Lower extremity. The lower extremity is everything between your hip and your toes. Let's continue by naming the bones in the lower extremity. Name items 13, 24, 25, 26, and 27. Name items 28, 29, and 30. Name items 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41. Pause the video here, look in the description box, and answer the question in D. In 13 and 24, we find femur, the long bone in the upper part of the leg. In 25, patella, also known as the kneecap. 26, tibia, the large bone at the front of the lower leg. 27, fibula, the outer of the two bones in the lower part of the leg. In 28, we find tarsal, a set of 7 irregularly shaped bones. They are in the foot in the ankle area. 29, metatarsals, part of the bone of the midfoot. In 30, we find phalanges again. See 22 for a definition. Let's zoom in on the femur, so the long bone in the upper part of the leg that we already saw in items 13 and 24. We're now zooming in on items 37 and 38. Well, those consist of the condyle. So the condyle is a round prominence at the end of the bone. When we look at the body of the femur, we see that the medial and lateral condyles form the proximal part of the body of the femur. So lateral condyles 37 and medial condyle 38. In 39 and 40, we see the lateral malleolus and the medial malleolus. A malleolus is one of either of the inner or outer bones of the ankle. The medial malleolus is the prominence on the inner side of the ankle formed by the lower end of the tibia. The lateral malleolus is the prominence on the outer side of the ankle formed by the lower end of the fibula. The last bone we're going to discuss as a part of the lower extremity, it can be found in 41, the calcaneus. This is the large bone forming the heel, so the heel bone. Pelvic girdle. First of all, 21 verbs to use. Name items 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Name items 35 and 36. Pause the video here, look in the description box, and answer the question in E. When we talk about the pelvis, we mean the bones that form a bowl-shaped structure in the area below the waist, at the top of the legs, and to which leg bones and spine are joined. When we talk about a girdle, we mean the ring of bones that supports the extremity. Let's zoom in on the pelvic girdle. In 8, we find ilium, the large, broad bone forming the upper part of each half of the pelvis. In 9, we find sacrum, a triangle-shaped bone at the base of the lower back above the coccyx, which can be found in item 36. 10. Pubis. The pubic bone is the most forward-facing of the 3 main bones making up the pelvis. 11. Ischium, the large bone in the lower part of the hip. 12. Symphysis pubis, the fixed joint at the front of the pelvic girdle where the halves of the pubis meet. 35. Pelvic girdle, the ring of bones at the pelvis supporting the legs. 36. Coccyx bone, a small bone at the base of the spine. Turning to shoulder girdle. Name the bones in the shoulder girdle. Name the bone in 33. Name the bone in 14 and 15. Pause the video here, look in the description box, and and answer the question in F. 33. Acromion. Acromion is a bony process on the shoulder blade. Note that the process is a projection or outgrowth of bone or tissue. 14. Clavicle, also known as breastbone. 15. Scapula, the shoulder bone or shoulder blade, if you will. In this video, we named 41 bones and tested your knowledge. Pause the video here, look in the description box, and answer the question in G. Bonus tip: consult medical dictionaries. Where to find them? Well, they're usually integrated in the regular ones that you're probably already using, or at least you should start using. For example, Cambridge Online Dictionary and Merriam-Webster. I've created a support series on this topic, and which I will link at the top page here. So we'd love to hear from you too. So what stuck after having watched this video, and what would you still like to learn? Let us know in the comments below. We'd look forward to hearing from you.